That's Rush from the Permanent Waves LP. And picture the day. This is, let's see, September 30th, 1984 at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. That was the opening song at the Rush concert, my first concert ever. And the white, bright spotlights shine out into the crowd. I think I'm in the 25th row or so, 25th, 26th, maybe 30th row on the floor by myself. Didn't even occur to me to invite someone else to go with me to this concert. I want to go, so I'm just going to go. And boy, what a great show. What a great first concert. Good morning, Vaqueros. This is DJ Doc V. You're listening to Office Hours. It is Friday, March 29th, and it's about 5 minutes after the hour. I've got some great music picked out for you today for another episode of Office Hours. And what did I see? I saw this meme on Facebook. Someone said, in celebration of Easter, I'm going to betray one of you. Oh gosh, some people are just too funny, man. I saw that on Facebook this morning. I'm like, that's good. I got to use that. What else? We've got some Bruce Hornsby coming up. We've got let's see, REM, a double shot of REM coming up in a little bit, and then some Pink Floyd. That's right. Last week I mentioned that I was talking to a friend, and I said, I don't play a lot of Pink Floyd. And like, yeah, but that's your favorite. Yeah, but I don't want to, monopolize. Hey, it's your show. Play what you want. That's right. We're going to play some Pink Floyd today. A deep cut, as a matter of fact. Nothing that you probably heard on the radio before. Deep cut from Obscured by Clouds. That's coming up in a little bit. Also got a great poem picked out for you from Gallery Magazine, the 2023 edition. And at the bottom of the hour, we will do our This Day in History, as we do every week on Office Hours. But for now, let's get back to the music. How about a little Boston? This is a great record. This is from the Third Stage record. I saw these guys during this tour. 1987 would have been the year. This is a song called I Think I Like It, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. That's right. Vaqueros make it to the pros. That's right. We got Kevin Stevens at the. I know, it's bananas, right? Speaking of baseball, congratulations to the Vaquero men's baseball team who won last night. Ninth inning fireworks to beat Utah Tech on the road. So that was really good. We've got some UTRGV athletics events coming up this weekend. We've got, let's see, baseball's again at Utah Tech. They're playing tonight at 7. You've got women's tennis is playing at UT Arlington tomorrow. And then on March 30th, another baseball game rounding out the series at Utah Tech. And back here, we've got our women's track team and men's track team going to be out at the Farms Team Invitational at Texas A&M back on April 5th. And women's tennis at Seattle U on April the 5th. Maybe you heard about the Vaqueros moving conferences. There were some rumors about that, but it was official this week, leaving the WAC and joining the, what is it again? The Southern what? Southland Conference, that's what it is. So we're going to be, and the cool thing is that the teams will be playing largely here in Texas and Louisiana rather than having to go off to Seattle and Utah. So better for the students, that's for sure. Let's see, it's what's the weather like right now? Looks like it's 73 degrees here in Edinburgh, Texas. Sunny skies. Looking for a high this afternoon of 83 degrees. And coming up this weekend, some more pleasant weather coming up. 85 degrees is a high today. Tomorrow, 87 with partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy skies again on Sunday with a high of 93. And then wind and a high of 97 on Monday. So it looks like we've got a couple good days coming up here, as we normally expect here in the Valley with our great weather even in April. So And the poem I got picked out for you is it's got a springtime theme. That'll be coming up at 50 minutes after the hour. Right now, let's get back to the music. How about a little Fiona Apple for this Friday morning? This one's called Get Him Back from the LP Extraordinary Machine on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. From the LP Fables of the Reconstruction, that one's Driver 8 by REM. Before that, you heard Strange. That was from a different record from REM. That was from the Document LP that really kind of cemented their place in rock and roll and I guess the kind of the earlier alternative music, right? Driver 8, the second single from that third album, Fables of the Reconstruction, released in September of 1985. The song peaked at number 22 on the U.S. Billboard Mainstream Rocks chart, and the song refers to the Southern Crescent, a passenger train that was operated by the Southern Railroad until 1979 and continues today with fewer stops as the Amtrak Crescent. The music video shows chassis system trains running around Clifton Forge, Virginia. And a great tune there. That song, Strange, not necessarily the most popular one from Document. That one would probably be the one I love. I still got that on a 45 single on vinyl. That was something else, yeah, I'll tell you. Well, let's see, 76 degrees here in the beautiful upper Rio Grande Valley with sunny skies mostly. Looks like it's going to be a good day down here in the valley. 54 degrees in Albuquerque, New Mexico. 39 degrees for our friends Bill and Erica out in Westport, Massachusetts. 61 degrees in Oklahoma City, OK. And 39 degrees in Spokane, Washington. Steve's on the road this morning, so drive safe, brother. I'm sure we'll talk very soon. As we always do on Office Hours, we've got this day in history. And on this day in 1973, U.S. troops withdraw from Vietnam. 2 months after the signing of the Vietnam Peace Agreement, the last U.S. combat troops leave South Vietnam as Hanoi frees many of the remaining American prisoners of war held in North Vietnam. America's direct 8-year intervention in the Vietnam War was at an end. Vietnam, I guess it's either or. In Saigon, some 7,000 U.S. Department of Defense civilian employees remained behind to aid South Vietnam in conducting what looked to be a fierce and ongoing war with the Communist North. And in the history, in 1961, after 2 decades of indirect military aid, John F. Kennedy sent the first large force of U.S. military personnel to support the ineffectual autocratic regime of South Vietnam against the Communist North. 3 years later, with South Vietnamese government crumbling, President Lyndon Johnson ordered limited bombing raids on North Vietnam, and Congress authorized the use of U.S. troops. By 1965, North Vietnamese offenses left President Johnson with 2 choices: escalate U.S. involvement or withdraw. And we all know now that he chose to escalate. Took another several years before finally signing that peace accord. But the reality, the agreement was little more than a face-saving gesture by the U.S. government. Even before the last American troops departed on March 29th, the communists violated the ceasefire, and by early 1974, full-scale war had resumed. At the end of 1974, South Vietnamese authorities reported that 80,000 of their soldiers and civilians had been killed in fighting during that year, making it the most costly of the Vietnam War. On April 30th, 1975, the last few Americans still in Vietnam were airlifted out of the country as Saigon fell to communist forces. North Vietnamese Colonel Bu Tin, accepting the surrender of South Vietnam later in the day, remarked, quote, "You have nothing to fear. Between Vietnamese there are no victors and no vanquished. Only the Americans have been defeated." The Vietnam War was the longest and most unpopular foreign war in U.S. history and cost 58,000 American lives. As many as 2 million Vietnamese soldiers and civilians were killed. Also on this day in history, in 1982, freshman Michael Jordan In 1982, hits the winning shot to give North Carolina the NCAA title. You've been watching the March Madness. I watched a little bit of it last night. Saw Alabama defeat North Carolina. That was something last night. Also on this day in 1958, first reading of the Kneeling Curve, which shows carbon dioxide levels in Earth's atmosphere. In 1974, the U.S. space probe Mariner visits Mercury. And in 1971, Lieutenant William Calley found guilty of the My Lai murders, the massacre at My Lai in Vietnam. In 1865, Appomattox, the final campaign of the Civil War, begins. And in 1945, General George Patton takes Frankfurt, Germany, World War II coming to a close soon after our troops march on Germany there. Let's get back to the music. How about that? As promised, we've got a deep cut from Pink Floyd. This one is from the Obscured by Clouds soundtrack. This is before Dark Side of the Moon, before Pink Floyd really made a name for themselves. They did the soundtrack for Barbet Schroeder, who directed the film La Vallée, or The Valley, which depicts some explorers visiting a very primitive indigenous tribe. Really great record. This song called Childhood's End, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. That's right, you're listening to Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. This is Office Hours. I am DJ Doc V. Be with you here for the next 10 minutes or so. But make sure you stay tuned. Up at 11 o'clock Texas time, we've got the Feminist Hour out from our Brownsville studio. So make sure you stay tuned in there. You heard Ray LaMontagne there with Trouble, and a double shot of Pink Floyd with starting that one out with the Childhood's End, that deep cut from Obscured by Clouds, the soundtrack LP, and then a little bit from Dark Side of the Moon, celebrating its 50th anniversary this year, in 2024. I got to get my hands on that special limited edition Dark Side of the Moon 2 LP record on clear vinyl. Oh, did I say that? Yes, I got to get that. That's going to be released next month. So, that was Eclipse. We played that one from Dark Side of the Moon, commemorating the upcoming eclipse on that's going to be passing through Texas. Eagle Pass, in particular, is going to be a focal point where you'll be able to see 100% of that total solar eclipse. Here in the upper Rio Grande Valley, we are supposed to see about 80% of the eclipse. So 80% of the moon will cover 80% of the sun will be covered by the moon. That's on Monday, April 8th. Texas will be an amazing destination for the total solar eclipse. And get prepared to see the greatest sight nature offers, a total eclipse of the sun. Be sure to get inside the path of totality for the full experience. Also on the path of totality, Eagle Pass down here on the in the borderlands, but also San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, some of the bigger cities. Make sure you pick up the solar eclipse glasses, because you can't look at the solar eclipse with your naked eye. You could end up with some eye damage. So make sure that you pick up glasses so you can watch that without any danger at all. Beginning, since it is spring, I picked out a poem for you from the 2023 Gallery magazine. This is a poem titled Dreadful Spring by Esteban Carrizal. So this is growth, I say, to be able to appreciate these cruel months. Again, I open my eyes to blindness and breathe in the tastes of golden mornings and fiery sunsets. Air warm as the embrace I feared, when I'd rather freeze by the hearth and drink. Spring is just as pleasant to drink in, too. All transition is just as dazzling. Birth is just as divine as decay. Take in this view before you give a name to what you feel. Emotions like this only come once a year. That's a poem called Dreadful Spring by Esteban Carrizal from the 2023 edition of Gallery Magazine, another fine production of UTRGV Student Media. Just got a couple minutes left with you, Vaqueros, so we're going to play a couple more tunes before we head out for the rest and have a good weekend. Currently, the weather 76 degrees here in Edinburgh, beautiful sunny skies, blue skies. Maybe a little bit of clouds today, but make sure you are enjoying the good weather this weekend. Maybe get yourself outside. But thanks for tuning in. We've got a little squeeze coming at you. This one's called Up the Junction on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station.